really good who played my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting. I love that kind of stuff. I think it's very fascinating. So it was a great experience, and I liked working with both the leads in that. I really don't. I loved going up to Vancouver. I've done a lot of work up there, actually.
Cool.
And
what about? I have to ask about Melrose Place.
Oh yes, that was so much fun. I loved it. I loved my character. She was so sassy, and she really put those guys in line. Oh my God, she really cracked the whip with them, and just would just play off of both of them. That was another thing where my dialogue was so sassy. I've really had the opportunity to play really like kick-ass sassy women. You know?
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to ask you about that too, because you have this show that's sort of, it's sort of known as being this sort of sort of sassy, soap opera-y kind of show. So, I mean, can the subject matter of a show, can that reflect in your performance in any way if you know the subject matter of a show going in? Do you know what I'm saying? Like going in, does that have an effect on you? Like, you're going to have to do something, soap opera-y or kind of, sassy or whatever.
I never really looked at it. I was not a huge, I didn't watch the show, so I was not a huge fan going in. I didn't even know who the characters were. I'm not, per se. I just, you start to get into these characters and you see the kind of character and the relationships and the writing and all of that, and you see that, my character was very arched and arched, and she was, she would just like give them shit, the different doctors and play off of each of them, and then in the end they get her, and it's
right.
They find her on top of the of a desk with one of the other doctors. It was just funny, it's just.
Yeah.
And it was always one-upsmanship on that, show. So I just had a lot of fun and did a number of episodes, so I was really appreciative for that. Yeah.
What do you remember about doing the Star Treks that you did?
Oh, I love those. Those were fantastic. Very, you had to be very disciplined and very, you could not leave an article out of the dialogue. Like if you left a the out or anything like that, you would have to redo it. It was just in a lot of techno babble. A lot of the times on The Next Generation, for instance, I had no idea what I was saying. It was just a lot of techno babble, and they just were very insistent that you stick to the dialogue. So I did 3 different ones, and my experience working with René Auberjonois on Deep Space Nine was so lovely. He's just such a dear man, and I was one of his main love interests in that, where I think I was the only one that he ever got in bed with. I might be wrong, but I think so. And it was just a very he was just such a wonderful actor. The beautiful thing is you get to work with such wonderful actors, and oftentimes you're as good as the actor that you were working with, because it's if you're working with not such a great actor, it's hard to excel. But when you really are working with the likes of René Auberjonois, it's just he just everything gets elevated. So It was a wonderful experience. And then I did another one. What was that called?
Deep Space Nine.
Enterprise.
Well,
Deep Space, right. Enterprise, right. Yeah. And with Scott Bakula. And again, got to play a little bit of a love interest there. So, but it was very challenging because you had to stay on top of the dialogue, and you were playing very, very straight and very sincere characters. They were not, they didn't have a sense of humor per se or anything like that. At least my characters didn't. They were scientists or villains or or something. Yeah. So.
Go ahead.
Great.
Go ahead. Cool.
It's just amazing the fan base on those. I mean,
I know,
I've had a
right?
lot of people come. Yeah, unbelievable. I've had a lot of people at these conventions come up to me, and I'm there for Rock and Roll High School, and they bring all their stuff because they know I'm there. So, and they get every single character that they have in these books of theirs.
Sure,
so.
sure. And I just have a couple more. And then, so what about I have to ask you because I'm just a fan, right? So I have to ask about the David Cassidy story.
Oh yeah.
Because
this is great because you're pulling up some
Yeah.
really ones that people don't really even I love doing the David Cassidy story. Jack Bender was the director on that, and
Malcolm McDowell.
loved, and Malcolm's a friend of mine now, so that was wonderful to work with him. And that was interesting, because David was there on set a lot and in the casting of it. And so to play his stepmom it was his stepmom, right?
Shirley Jones. Yeah, Shirley.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I mean, was
the
his
stepmom, right? Because she was married to Jack Cassidy.
She was married to Jack Cassidy, and so these boys were she was the stepmom of these boys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So so it was really that kind of added pressure, but they had me in a wig and they did the whole number, and she was always had such a sweet presence that so I studied a lot of those, the shows.
Were you a fan as a kid growing up, or of the Partridge Family?
No.
No?
I mean, I just didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. I was really outdoors, and I'm an artist and all of that, so I was very more, and my parents really wouldn't allow me to watch a lot of TV, so I didn't have that as no, I didn't. But I certainly watched a lot of it before doing the role.
Sure.
Because we had to reenact those scenes, with the tambourine and all of that. So it was really a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun. Yeah.
So with this, with the sculpting, like how does your work as can the work as a sculptor affect the work of an actor, or vice versa?
Well,
how do you feed off of those two?
I think creative expression in all different forms can only feed each other. I have really become more of a sculptor. In terms of professionally, the older I've gotten, and really claimed it as an art form and a profession, as well as myself as an actor, because of there are less roles for the older you get.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the business changes, and the business is imploding. It is really changing. There's less movies being made, and with so much reality television,
right?
It's a whole different ballpark than when I started out, and so I have a studio here in Culver City, and I go there a couple times a week, and I just keep creating. And I think that creative expression, and you can't. I think if you need to express in your life, and you have this creativity, and it needs to get out, you always need to find a venue or some means of expressing it. And
right.
It doesn't matter what age you are, you just have to, or it will turn in on you. So I am very, very fortunate that I have my sculpture, and I'm in a number of galleries. I'm in a gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and one in San Diego, and in Carmel, and here in Los Angeles. So I just and hopefully I'll grow into other ones. But so that's very important to me. And then I'm also a part of the Actors Studio, and I'm developing, I think, as I told you, a play that I co-created, or the story is, it's a story that I came up with and took to a writer who's a part of the Actors Studio, and I think that we will workshop it through the Actors Studio and hopefully be able to jump it out. So I just keep doing it, and then I just recently did a CSI, on where I played a really bad person. I played a grandmother who kills her grandchildren. or has her grandchildren killed. Now that, I mean, that's so not like me. That's
It
not
is.
fair.
Yeah, and you know,
So,
how do you feel about that? Because, you know,
I have no
I mean,
idea. It all started
well,
with
I mean,
Pretty Woman.
oh, I mean, you know, how do you feel about? I mean, how are you feeling dealing with getting older? You're playing
Oh,
Kate Rambo, and now you're playing a grandmother. So how do you? I mean, how do you
I
feel
know,
about that?
I know. You know, I've had a really nice career, so I you know, I actually feel better the older I've gotten because I feel more like I'm in tune with what I need and what I want and my own creativity. So when you say now how do you approach a role, it's so different than how I did it when I first started out, you know,
Right.
because that was me, just a lot of me just being present and doing the whole Sandy Meisner thing, which was listening and doing the what ifs and all of that. But now I definitely know how to approach a character and a role, and so I feel a lot more seasoned and as an actor and more like there's nothing there's nothing age appropriate, of course, that I feel like I couldn't do if given the opportunity. I think that's the hard thing. You're just not given as many opportunities. But
Sure.
I think I'm aging gracefully, meaning that I'm not uptight about it. I'm not like, oh, I wish I was this. It is something that you have to accept that it's a very youth-oriented industry,
Right.
and it always will be. Although so much of our audience is, you know, the baby boomers.
Mhm.
But I don't know. That's I'm just grateful to work whenever I get the opportunity. So I don't really like think, oh God, I can't play a grandmother. Kate Rambo
Right.
can't play a grandmother. So no, I definitely am just very grateful if I get the opportunity and it's a good role and it's a challenge and I love all that. So
Is there anyone that you would like to work with in the future, director-wise, or?
oh God, so I'd love to work with Billy again, Bill Condon
Uh-huh.
again. I just would love to work with him. He's still remained a good friend. I have dinner, go out with him, you know, at least a couple times a year. But definitely would like to work with him again. I worked with Barry Levinson and Robert De Niro on a movie called What Just Happened. Did you see that by any chance?
I didn't. No.
Oh, catch that. I have a very good, fun role in the beginning of that, playing De Niro's ex-wife, and
Okay, cool.
kind of put him in place. And that was really fun. So I'd always wanted to work with Barry Levinson, and that was great. God, there are so many different people I would I like Baz Luhrmann. I think that would be a trip to work with him.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's see. My gosh, there's just so many. Spielberg, of course, but those are the old classic guys, you know. Trying to think now.
Would you work with OJ again?
Oh God, no, probably not. I don't know. My God, he's in prison, isn't he?
I know. I watched No Place to Hide recently, and I saw him with a hammer, and I was like, oh man.
Oh my God. Oh my
Knocking
God.
people over the head with a hammer in that movie.
Oh my God, that was No, I just love working, and so I don't believe in retiring really in this business. I think and I feel I've only gotten better in terms of my craft and in terms of what I have to bring to a role. So I just look for more opportunities and all of that. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.